the cop who decided to murder Sonya Massey will actually walk free now. Here's video.
Massey starts to set down the pot and apologizes. Grayson fires 3 times, striking her in the face.
Headshot wounded female, 1078.
Prosecutors say Grayson's partner tried to give the 36-year-old first aid, even though Grayson discouraged him.
I'm gonna go get my kit. No, she's done. You can go get it, but that's a headshot.
Put up the picture full mask. I'm going to give you the update to this horrific story. The family is obviously outraged as the former Illinois Sheriff's deputy, Sharon Grayson, who was charged with murder, is actually set to walk free. So a former sheriff's deputy faces first-degree murder charges in the shooting death of an innocent Black woman. This past summer will appear in court Friday for a hearing that could set him free while awaiting trial. Sonya Massey, 36 years of age, as you remember, was killed after the county sheriff's deputy, Sean P. Grayson, who is a white male, opened fire at her Springfield home. This was July 6th, after Ms. Massey herself placed a 911 call in the middle of the night to report a prowler. The only criminal there was the cop who arrived. The deadly incident involving Grayson came into focus after prosecutors released body camera footage. This was about 2 weeks after the shooting. Indisputable has been on this since day one. The footage revealed a bizarre encounter that began as a polite exchange with officers, but ended in tragedy when Grayson opened fire multiple times, killing Massey in her own kitchen. A grand jury did indict Grayson on July 17th, charging him with 3 counts of first-degree murder, aggravated battery with a firearm, and official police misconduct. A group of 15 to 20 protesters marched angrily outside of the county building before Monday's bond hearing, calling for Grayson to remain in custody. Tiara Standage, who collaborated with Massey and played a key role in organizing the protest, expressed that it was, quote, ridiculous to even entertain the notion of releasing Grayson. Quote, "It's a slap in the face to the Massey family," Ms. Standage said. According to the Springfield State Journal-Register, quote, "They're spending their first holidays without their loved one, and Sean Grayson could possibly spend his holidays with his family. That is unfair." Last week, the 4th District Court of Appeals reversed a lower court's decision to keep Grayson jailed until trial, ruling that, quote, "no conditions of release would be adequate to mitigate the threat Grayson posed to the safety of the community." After the decision, James Wilburn, that's Massey's father from Pine Bluff, Arkansas, described the possibility of Grayson's release as a, quote, "serious miscarriage of justice." Previously, Circuit Court Judge Ryan Cadigan ordered Grayson held without bond under what's called the Pretrial Fairness Act. However, another court, the appeals court, countered that ruling on November 27th, stating that the trial court had unfairly tied Grayson's bond to his shortcomings as a law enforcement officer. This, they argued, shifted focus away from the primary issue, determining how to mitigate any risk he might pose after being stripped of his office. let me explain some of this legal jargon, because this is quite unprecedented and ironic that the court of competent jurisdiction that has truly the subjective right. I know they like to call it an objective process in the bond hearing, but it is not. The subjective right in order to hold an individual without bond. That judge decided to utilize his judicial discretion and hold the officer in jail. Now, the appeal court said, well, it's not that he doesn't have the right to do it. We just don't like how he did it. We don't like the other things he said. We don't like him tying this to that. Well, the reason they're ruling this way is because they don't want the precedent set to hold officers to a higher accountability of public trust. And that is what this judge did. This judge tied the fact that the officer is an agent of public trust. And due to that, it creates even a more shock to the conscience of what has been alleged. Another court comes in, we don't like the way you said that. Not that you can't do it, we just don't like the way, okay? All right, so meanwhile, the Massey family, joined by Sonya Massey's mother, Donna Massey, expressed outrage that Grayson would likely walk out of jail within a few days. Grayson, who has been in custody since July 17th, was first held at the Sangamon County Jail, but in late October, he was moved to Macon County Jail in Decatur in the state. His release conditions could involve home confinement, paired with a monitoring system to ensure his compliance. Since the shooting, U.S. Department of Justice opened an investigation into the county sheriff's office, citing, quote, serious concerns about the sheriff's department interactions with Black people and people with behavioral health disabilities, which it is noted Ms. Massey had, as well as several practices and procedures. The office is required to submit the necessary documents to the DOJ by December 14th. The sheriff's office will likely not comply because they're hoping for a different, let's just say, point of view from the incoming administration. The court, the appeals court in particular, decided to bend itself in ways that's uncommon for a court, to overrule a judge who had primary judicial discretion in a bond hearing in order to protect not the community, but a cop. The court could have ruled that the way the judge tied the officer's profession to the alleged conduct was improper. However, it is within the complete jurisdictional authority of the judge to make decisions as it relates to bond. They could have split the difference, is my point, without overruling the judicial authority, but they did. All right, Sharon, thoughts here.
Yeah, contortionist is the way I would, that's a good word to use for it. I sometimes wish we'd stop playing this game. I think, sure, when you fight, you have the opportunity, you should never give up. I'll never give up. But it's incredibly difficult, Dr. Richey, to fight when the rules of the game and even the game itself are constantly changing. There's no need to protect Black people, and that's the way the appeals court saw it.
Yeah, we're going to bring you updates. Obviously, Sharon, we are hoping that there's another remedy other than letting this guy go and somehow setting a precedent that judges aren't allowed to take into consideration the level of public trust you have. We believe, obviously, this is the right way to go and not the wrong way to go. If you have a position of public trust, you are held to a higher public standard. That's the way it works. All right.